Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we are reading chapter 23 of Hermitcraft Freedom. And as you can tell from the title and thumbnail of the video, we are diving into this Minecraft-inspired story where I put Minecraft YouTubers that I watch and enjoy into a Minecraft world or multiverse, universe, not multiverse yet. No, definitely not a multiverse, just a whole universe and see what happens. And right now I'm focused on the hermits because, Hermitcraft may or may not be one of my hyperfixations right now. That's fine. I'm enjoying the story and enjoying the ride. This one's a little bit more. It can be a little dark because we're going into the dream world, but yeah, it should be okay. If you are young and you want to listen, Gem. It's like I try not to go too dark. Yeah. You always have to think about which perspective you do. But yeah, captions are available if you want to follow along with the chapter that way. Don't have to, but other than that, let's get right into it. The link hummed in her mind like a ray of light in the darkness as Gem held onto it, trying to concentrate, to focus. Beside her, she could hear Skiz taking deep breaths, doing the same. Impulse was out there somewhere, and they had to find him. Gem embraced the warmth of the connection between her and her friends. There was something mystical about the energy, a guide to the people she cared about. You could open your eyes. I think it worked, Skiz said calmly. Gem felt the older hermit squeeze her hand as she blinked open her eyes. A vast ocean was before her, disappearing beyond the horizon on all sides. The ground rocked beneath her gently. She looked down to find the wood at her feet. No, they weren't on land. They were on a boat. Skiz stood beside her, a spyglass in hand. He used it to look out into the vast blue. Were an impulses dream? Beat-ups asked. I think so, Skiz reported, lowering the spyglass with a frown. I can sense something stirring, but I can't figure out where it's coming from. This is a memory, right? Gem glanced over at him. It should be if Skiz followed my instructions, Scott pointed out. I did. I'm pretty sure I did, Skiz insisted, putting his spyglass to his face again, looking in a different direction. Do you feel anything? Gem pressed. Do you? Skiz turned to her. It's muffled, she replied, swallowing. She felt a tug in her chest as she turned around, plucking the spyglass from Skiz's hand. Hey, I was using that. Follow the link, Gem muttered softly, ignoring her friend as she peeked through the spyglass. The pull was almost like a whisper as she reached a mental hand to her friend. Impulse? Gem adjusted the settings of the spyglass, trying to find any sign of land or another boat. Where are you? It's dark. The voice was soft, barely audible, but she recognized it. Hope sparked in her heart like a kindling flame. You said you found him at the camp, mining stone from the cliff, Gem said, spotting something in the distance, lowering her spyglass. See that island over there? She looked over at Skiz and pointed. Skiz squinted before taking the spyglass from her and peering through it. I see it now, Skiz muttered. I could have sworn that wasn't there before. The dream world works in mysterious ways, Gem said brightly, grabbing one of the oars of the boat. I could use your help here, guys. On it! Beat-ups practically lunged for one of the oars across from her. Scar took another, and Skiz remained behind. Lead the way, Captain. Skiz saluted with a grin. I am not a captain. She giggled. You're at the front of the ship, Skiz snickered as they began to row. So you're the captain. Jem sighed. All right. Let's get moving already. The quartet didn't say much during the trip, which seemed to take longer than it actually did. Eventually, they got to land, which was a flat, grassy plain with sparse oak trees dotting the land. A tall mountain loomed over the land like a backdrop. Jem saw puffs of smoke in the distance, sign of life. Skiz leapt out of the boat, treading through the water, reaching land first as the others followed. The sky was clear blue, sun high in the sky. You should probably let me do the talking, as it's a memory and not a dream, Skiz stated matter-of-factly. I don't know, Skiz, Jem said reluctantly, jogging up to meet him on a small standing beach. Impulse told me he was somewhere dark. Dark? You heard him? Skiz blinked. Simply asked him where he was. She tapped her temple with a smile. Okay, Skiz nodded. Probably in a cave. He's not far, Jem said cheerfully. Do you feel anything? Beat-Ups asked, appearing at her side. It feels urgent, like he has news or something. Jem swallowed. Is that feeling right? She also felt a nudge of dread swirling around the link. What did Impulse know? He's okay, though, Skiz said confidently. That's good, at least. For how long? Conover's going to make his move sooner or later, Jem frowned. Skiz shrugged. Told me he was okay. It checks out. Do you not feel the dread that's hovering over it all? I do, Skiz said calmly. He's just worried about us. He always is. Jem smiled sadly, looking over at Scar and Beat-Ups. What about you two? I feel like we should go that way, Scar pointed at the mountain. Up? Skiz furrowed his brow. That wasn't part of the memory. Maybe this is just a symbolism of the memory. A familiar place? Beat-Ups asked. That's exactly what it is, Scar beamed. I thought you said this was a memory, Skiz snapped. Jem and the dream world works in mysterious ways, Scar shrugged. Grian and I didn't relive a memory. I just wanted to be someplace else like we were. I used the same trick he used on us, and it worked. Skiz let out a heavy sigh. All right, fine. Let's go find Double Top and see what's going on. Jem followed the older hermit toward the mountain. They found the camp at the foot of the mountain. A ladder leaned against a stone wall, leading toward a set of stone steps. He's been busy, Jem noted, grabbing onto the rung of the ladder. Climbing to the top. Impulse, can you hear us? He's a bit higher up, Scar reported, pulling himself up. We might have to do some climbing. We can manage. Jem took the lead, not looking back to see if her friends were following. She knew they were. She ran up the stone steps and began climbing the rock face, focusing on the connection she had with Impulse. The link was strong, but full of urgency. Worried they're going to figure out what I'm doing. Jem kept going, grabbing another ledge and pulling herself to stop. You mean Carter's men? He doesn't want me to warn you. Warn them? Warn them about what? She looked over her shoulder, spotting Beat-Ups pulling Scar up on the lower ledge. Skiz wasn't far behind. We need to hurry. We don't know how much time we have, Jem said firmly, spotting a cave just above her head. She immediately began to climb to it, reaching to the top as a cool breeze swept her long orange hair back. There was another exit somewhere in the cave. Good. More ways to get out if they were ambushed. He's down there, Scar whispered. making Jem jump. As she turned, Jem nodded in response, carefully sliding down into the cave, letting her eyes adjust to the darkness. "Impulse?" Jem called, wincing as her voice bounced off the stone walls. "I'm over here." Impulse's voice was quiet. "Close." She turned a corner, stopping when she saw her friend crouched behind a boulder. "Are you hiding?" Jem frowned. "Someone is tracking my thoughts through the headband." Impulse swallowed. "His orders." "Connor?" Jem frowned. Impulse shook his head, getting to his feet. "I need to tell you something. Where's everyone?" "Coming," Scar declared, hopping down another boulder as he landed next to Jem. Skiz was having a little trouble. Meetups was helping him. Jem giggled, turning back to Impulse. What can you tell us? Where are you?" "Somewhere in a building," Impulse sighed. "I'm at least on the second floor. Rob took about half an hour flying over here with me. So, fairly far." Jem nodded. "Anything else?" Impulse winced. "Yeah, but you're not gonna like this." Jem put a hand on her friend's shoulder. "Tell us." Connor had a working clone machine. He used it to bring back Campbell's son. "What?" Jem gasped. "How?" "They modified it to replicate the DNA from a strand of hair and scanned it." Impulse shook his head. "So Campbell has no reason to go after Rose anymore." "He got what he wanted," Scar suggested hopefully. Impulse shrugged. "I don't know. He still knows about the other place, and Richard..." "Wait, Richard? I thought he died during the rescue mission a week ago." Jem took a step back. "He used the clone machine before he went to the base." "Of course he did," Jem growled. "And there's one more thing," Impulse swallowed, scratching the back of his head. His brown eyes scanned shadows of the cave warily. "Are you okay? They aren't hurting you?" Jem asked worriedly. Impulse shook his head. "Not yet, but he doesn't have a problem threatening my friends." "Who?" Jem asked softly. Pained look cast a shadow over Impulse's face as he turned his head to Scar. Impulse opened his mouth to speak just as a shadow lunged from behind the hermit. Impulse yelped, flying backwards toward the stone wall of the cave. "Impulse!" Jem lurched forward, reaching out for him and grabbing him by the shirt. As black vines began to wrap themselves around her friend. "Scar, help me get him out of this." Golden light filled the room as Scar appeared at her side, slicing through the vines that tried to grab Impulse and pin him to the stone wall. The hermit groaned as the black substance began to wrap around his entire body, slowly reaching toward his face as Jem tried to peel them away. "It's no use, Jem," Impulse wheezed, letting out a weak cough. "You may have power over the dream, but as long as I wear the headband, they have the power to pull me away." "No! We're going to find you. We're going to get you back," Jem said firmly, putting her face directly in front of his. Impulse nodded slowly, vines slithering over her mouth. They mumbled something she didn't quite hear. "Just hang on. Whatever you do, don't let him get to you," Jem said softly, seeing the sadness and pain in his eyes. "He's coming for you. All of you." His whisper filled her mind as she saw a tear trickle down Impulse's face. A lump formed in her throat. "We'll be careful," Scar promised, gripping Jem's shoulder. Jem fought back a sob as she let Impulse go, the vines pulling him through the stone wall like he was never there. "We know the direction Rob went," Scar said softly, when Jem didn't move. "It's still a big area," she whispered. "I know, but we'll find him." Scar squeezed her shoulder. "We should probably see what's holding up Beat-Ups and Skiz." Jem nodded, finally turning away. "He looks so helpless, so scared." "He's worried about us," Scar said calmly, pulling himself up one of the boulders. You know how he is. I just wish I knew what scared him so much. He knows he's not alone. That I will. Scar said confidently. You think so? Jem frowned, following her friend up the cavern. I know it. Scar smiled. Okay. Jem let herself relax, letting her friend take the lead. She knew Scar was right. No matter what happened, they would do everything they could to make things right. She didn't know how that would happen. But she had her friends with her. They would do this. They could do this. Yeah. That is, unfortunately, where we're going to end this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a shorter one, and yeah. Moving on to the next one. Sneak peek, we're going to go into Korean. And yeah, from little tease. Yeah. We are back in the real world with a lot of questions and maybe some shenanigans. Not from the hermits, though. Some tasks have been left unfinished. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week. Or whenever the next episode is, or whenever you decide to come. Whatever that might be. Goodbye.